Welcome to the Hot Slice Podcast, brought to you by Pizza Today. I am Creative Director Josh Cowan. Along with me, Executive Editor of Pizza Today, Denise Greer. Hello, Denise.
Hello, Josh. It's a lovely, lovely, really, really hot afternoon. We're recording this one early.
It's so hot, and I just want that first hint of fall. It's the best. I'm just waiting for it, but I know, we're probably going to have to get to October before we even feel that. So
I'm just waiting for that 60-degree day. Like, just give me it. We're going to be at 108 today in Louisville, Kentucky. That's not something we should be ever at.
yeah.
So
I mean, summer used to be my favorite season growing up. Now it's my least favorite season. I'll put winter before it now. It's just, ugh.
All I can think about is if it's this hot for us, people in the kitchens, I feel so much for them. How are y'all staying cool? What are you doing? You happen to walk into the cooler every, 15
Losing
minutes.
12 pounds of water weight every shift,
Yeah, so you're going to be losing a lot through sweat, that's for sure. But right now this time with us is just packed. We're already planning for Pizza Expo because that's our 40th anniversary. Hello. So
we're gonna have to
we're
go big for
already
that one.
so we're planning big stuff for that. And then right now, so our pizzeria industry operator survey is still available, and I'll put the link to it in the show notes. But we really want every operator to participate, because the more operators that we can have fill out this survey, the more knowledge that we can get on a macro level of what's really happening in the pizzeria industry. So
to give to you, this is for you. We're doing it for you, and so the more people that fill this out, it's the better data we have to give you and see what's happening in the world.
And I will say, this is an anonymous survey. You go on, you're just completing the survey. You're not inputting your name. So we are asking for things like food costs and labor costs. And we're asking you what your profit areas are. But there's not a name attached to it. So we're trying to get a ballpark industry average for what's happening. And we can even get some averages by region. That's something that we're going to develop as we get more into this with year 2 and year 3, where we can look at parts of the country to see where hotbeds of pizza is. So it's really fun. I geek out on it. I'm sorry.
Well, and salute to you, Denise. You have been the one to spearhead this survey, and I think it's great for the industry. So kudos to you on that.
Right on. So big thing we're gearing up for right now is Pizza and Pasta Northeast, which we just got our airfare tickets, so we're all set to go too. Yeah, we're ready. We can't wait, and we cannot wait to meet you all. So if you're going to Pizza and Pasta Northeast in Atlantic City on October 1st and 2nd, make sure that if you see us walking around the show floor, you stop by, say hi, and tell us your story. I'm not sure we're going to bring the podcast.
I'm sure. Let's bring the podcast.
I mean, I guess we can just decide and say yes, right?
Right. Sure, let's do that. Let's bring the podcast.
Yeah, why not? That sounds good. But so Pizza and Pasta Northeast is pretty exciting right now. We have workshops that are still available to sign up for, those extended workshops. I think there are still a little bit of competition spots available. I did not do a run sheet on what's available, but I know there are a couple that are already gone. But there are some available. So if you want to compete, there's still time.
All right, so well, let's go. Well, speaking of pizza and pasta, let's get into our guest today, who is a keynote at Pizza and Pasta Northeast 2024.
Yeah, so
Will Grant.
Will Grant is the owner and operator of Sourdough Willy's, and that's in Kingston, Washington, kind of right there with Seattle. And he's been with his family business, That's Some Pizza, for a long time. His first introduction to the business, I think, was at like 8 or 10 years old. Like he's been at it for a long time, and then he kind of went off, did his own thing, did his own chef thing for a bit. So he's got a lot of knowledge. And the one thing I love is he is really working to elevate this industry. And that's inspiring.
Mhm. Yeah. It's and I thought the whole chat was inspiring. How he pushes his employees, and like I said, how he wants to move the industry forward, and his plan to is great.
Yeah, well, let's just jump right in because Will's a great guy, and we can't wait to hear a little bit more about his keynote address.
With extraordinary pizza cheese comes extraordinary rewards. Only Bacio Exceptional Italian Pizza Cheese offers the Gold Club Rewards program with monthly cash back on every cheese purchase. Members also receive funds twice a year to use in their exclusive marketing store. It's their way of saying grazie to customers. Schedule a demonstration at bacciocheese.com/hotslice and discover how rewarding Bacio Exceptional Italian Pizza Cheese can be. Pizza is your legacy. Build it with Bacio. Looking to grow your pizzeria or restaurant? Then you'll want to try the power of a cloud-based POS system. With Hunger Rush, you'll get everything you need. This fully integrated restaurant management system allows you to easily streamline operations, accelerate the delivery process, and grow your business through Hunger Rush 360 marketing. And it's so easy to use. Want AI-powered text ordering? It's built in. Need to track orders? No problem. Schedule a personalized demo at hungerrush.com today. Performance Food Service is proud to deliver high-quality products, innovative technology, and custom operational solutions to restaurants of all sizes across the country. The flagship division of Performance Food Group, with deep roots in the restaurant industry, Performance Food Service has been the exclusive distributor of the Roma family of brands for more than 65 years. This signature relationship has allowed Performance Food Service to become a leader in the pizza and Italian segment of food service nationwide.
All right, so Will, first of all, congratulations. I hear you're going to be a keynote speaker at Pizza and Pasta Northeast.
Congratulations.
How cool is that, right?
That's
Thank you,
really
guys.
cool.
It's an honor. It's definitely, I've been to, probably about 20 of them. So it'll be kind of neat to share my story that way. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, and it's been quite a journey from, didn't you win the Caputo Cup? Like, what year was that in Atlantic City that you won that? And now you're keynote there. So.
Yeah, no, 2017 is when I won first place for non-traditional, and my manager got second place for traditional, making us the top rated pizzeria in the United States.
So you're gonna have a lot of good reviews in Atlantic City.
Yeah. That was life-changing for, at the time, my 500 square foot pizzeria on Bainbridge, Washington.
Oh, wow. That's insane. So we've had you on the podcast before talking about great stuff, usually talking about sourdough a little bit. So we gotta catch up a little bit. What's been going on with the businesses? How's it going?
It's been going great. 2017 was really catalyst for me. At that point, I decided it was time for me to get out of my 500 square foot pizzeria. So we bought a different location to move that to some pizza too. Mm-hmm. So when we did that, we actually found another location in Kingston, Washington, just north of where we're at. There's one of the northern ferry boat lines from North Seattle. So from there, we found the location that is now Sourdough Willy's Pizzeria. So we ended up closing down a year before COVID, and then opening up in the middle of COVID with one half, and then opening the second half the year after. So like I always say, business is great when you open up in COVID, because every year you double from the year before. So
right. Yeah. Looks good on a spreadsheet, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. The financial guys love that. Or I say financial guys. My mother and my wife. That's a small family business.
Now's the time to borrow money when they see those up charts, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's awesome. So you're going to be the keynote. Have you thought about this keynote yet? Have you been kind of, deciding on kind of the angle of the story you want to tell, or do you want to keep it a secret until you get into it, just so it's a surprise for everyone?
No, it's one of those things. I'm more of a spur of the moment kind of guy. Usually I just like speaking from the cusp, and I like kind of just going with the feel, the vibe and stuff. But this one definitely put a little more thought into. I've told my story before that way, and this time I am going to put a little more thought into it, make sure I hit key points that I want to kind of share with the world about me and who I am, and what I've learned over the years, and how specifically, the Pizza Expo and Pizza and Pasta have changed my life, and boiling down to the point of that pizza is life for me, and it has been for me and my family for 3 generations now. So I'm excited for it. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I'm always curious. So you know, you had the family owned business, so you kind of just cycled right into that. How was it when you set to open Sourdough Willy's, where here, this is your baby now? This is like, you get to open it how you want, and maybe, you know, either, you know, grow from what you've learned with your family business, or, you know, kind of do your own thing with how you move forward. You know, what was your angle when you started?
Well, you know, it's, for me, it's always evolving.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I've loved being with my family business, I haven't always worked for the family business too.
Yeah.
I've worked in Bertucci's restaurants in the
Mm-hmm.
East Coast and in Boston. I worked at, I ran a few kitchens for Red Robin's here in Seattle area, and I worked with Wolfgang Puck for a little while at one of his restaurants here. So Sourdough Willy's was the 13th restaurant that I had actually opened up, and
Yeah.
being in the middle of a pandemic and being who I was and what I wanted to kind of do. You know, in the past, it had always been, what are other people's ideas on what I should be doing? After
Yeah.
2017, I really gained the confidence to be who I am as a chef and as a pizza personality. So that's really
Mm-hmm.
the difference with Sourdough Willy's. So I went into it very just, you know, whenever you open a new restaurant, there's always there's the reality and there's the theory of what you're going to be.
Yeah.
And usually, you know, you start with a big theory and you work into that reality. Opening in the middle of a pandemic, you got to open into the reality and kind of
Yeah.
theory of what reality is, especially when lockdowns were happening and stuff like that. So I really try to be fluid with, you know, sharing who I was as a chef, and sharing what I had learned over the last, you know, especially 5 years, but over my, you know, this is my 39th year of my family being in operation, my 20th
Mm-hmm.
year of running the family business. So I really wanted to share who I was and what I had learned, and really focus on that, streamline that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different kind of pizzeria. We don't do build your owns. We don't. You
Yeah.
can't change any of the products.
I love that.
It is what it is. We'll take things off for you know, if you have an allergy or something like that, or you don't
Yeah.
want pineapple on your spicy Hawaiian pizza, you know, you can do that. But it was the first time for me to really say, I'm the chef. This is what I'm doing, and this is the best way to have it, as
Yeah.
opposed to, you know, letting people put 10 toppings on a pizza and then
Right.
being mad at me because I didn't make them a good pizza. So it's been a fun way to really share that, and then, you know, taking it even twice fold with my experiences. You know, the walls of my restaurant are lined with all my achievements, all my participation.
Mm-hmm.
For, you know, you go to these different competitions, you get little plaques and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Literally, there's no pictures on the walls. There's a Stanislaus picture, and there's a picture from the original chef I apprenticed under when I was 10 years old. But that's it. It's all stuff about me, what I've learned in the pizzeria. And so when you walk into a restaurant and they tell you this is what you need to have because this is the best, then you look at the
Mm-hmm.
walls and you see Master Pizzaiolo, you see
Yeah.
competes in London, competes in Italy, you know, competes in Vegas, competes in Jersey, and then my, you know, award recognition also of my different trophies. It really,
Yeah.
it's a different kind of ambiance to a restaurant that way. So it's more of a kind of a reverence to what you're doing, and appreciation for what you do. And it's really, it's elevated me to that next
Yeah.
level. And that is one of the big things I want to talk about in my keynote, is how
Yeah.
to elevate who you are through what you do. So
It
I'm
really
interested.
is. Oh, sorry, Josh, go ahead.
I'm interested in the feedback of that, as far as like training your servers, saying, you know, hey, this is how it comes, so on and so forth. Like, what has been the feedback with your customers from that?
well, it's kind of funny. It's changed from year 1 to year 3. When you have a staff that buys into what you're doing, it makes it a lot easier, and it's a lot easier for them to portray that to the customers. When you're year 1 and no one believes you or what you do, I mean, for as much as I had my experience and I was known with the pizza community, no one locally really knew about me and what I did. It's from a small little island outside of Seattle of 20,000 people. So people really didn't know who I was. So it was hard for them to buy into what I was saying. No, this is going to be one of the best pizzerias in the nation. This is going to be the top sourdough pizzeria in the nation.
Yeah.
People didn't believe in me. They didn't really, you know, I had my core staff, but I couldn't steal them from one restaurant to another. So I had to build from there. And once, as I've gotten more people and more teammates and more shift leads, and really into, you know, as I kind of grow too, I've grown into having regional managers and local lead managers, and having that team and having them help me kind of create that ambiance and really that culture through my business has really made a big difference. So when customers come in, you know, it's always to me, it's always been hard to say no to a customer. I never want to say no to a customer. I hate walking in restaurants and saying, "Here's my money. Here's someone take my money." It's always been a peeve of mine. But at Sourdough Willy's, we don't change your toppings. We don't build your own. We don't take cash. I mean, and so we don't have a phone number. It's very unique to what we are. And at first, it was a lot of blowback. It was people didn't want that. People have an idea what a pizzeria is and how it needs to be, but that's been brought along by Domino's, Pizza Hut, and other big five. So it was my opportunity to say what elevated pizza is, and really what an artisanal pizza is, and explain to them, listen, this isn't Domino's. This is, my Detroits and my Sicilians take 5 days to make the dough and make the par bakes that people eat there. Same with my Roman style. This isn't easy. This isn't quick. This is a process. And once really you share that story with your customers, like I said, through the plaques on the wall and through the descriptions on the menu, and let them realize how unique we are and how different we are from everyone else. It's a lot easier for them to really accept and take that mouthful of no's that we give them and appreciate what we do. So at first it was rough, but last year we got best pizza in the whole Kitsap Peninsula, and we're getting a lot of really good feedback. It's neat. Bainbridge Island is kind of a funny community that I grew up on. It's very affluent outside of Seattle. It's where all the doctors, lawyers, CEOs, and executives live for a lower pricing mansion than downtown Seattle, because you can take a 3-5 minute ferry boat over there. So you have a lot of people that have a lot of money, and it's funny how you perceive things that way. I always thought I had opened a restaurant called Penelope's. I wanted to be affordable family dining. Well, this was, I guess, about 14 years ago. We were doing pastas, some small artisanal pizzas, and we were doing family style pastas. Family style was like $12 for pasta. Even back then, it was cheap. Wine was, I was selling it for $9 a bottle. All the other wine shops I are pissed off at me because I'm, undercutting everyone on it. And what I realized is because I was on the lower end, people had this idea because it was inexpensive, it wasn't good. I was probably one of the best, actually I was the best Italian restaurant on the whole Kitsap Peninsula, but because I had priced myself too low to be affordable, no one appreciated what we are. So when I did Sourdough Willy's, I went across and I found all the different local menus in the area, and I made sure it was $2 more than anywhere else in the area. So that immediately elevated me, even without saying anything, because people think it's something we have all in our heads, it's psychological. If something's more expensive, it's going to be a better product. And it's amazing how that works that way.
It's setting that standard early is so important. I mean, you said all those standards early about the menu price, all that. So, if you changed a year ago, you might have more blowback on that. But since it was from the beginning, that's like a great idea.
Yeah, it's how it is. It is what it is.
I love that. And you know what? I love that. Okay, so you have the things on the wall, and I really think that kind of sets the expectation that if I walk into a place and I see like championships on a wall, I'm like, this is going to be the best pizza of my life. Like I am going to have the best pizza of my life right here. And so you really set the stage for it, for them to have a great experience in your restaurant, right?
Absolutely. Well, in the Seattle area, there's not really, there's a few celebrity chefs around that do it. It's Ethan Stoll in Seattle, Michael Douglas, or I forget his name, but there's a few different, Tom Douglas, sorry, not Michael Douglas, completely different person, not the actor, and there's chefs that do pizza, and they do a great job at promoting what they are and who they are, but the reality of it is I'm a baker, pizzaiolo that's also a chef, so to me it starts with the dough and works the way up. So there's not a really, there's some high value pizzas in the city, but there's not a lot of high quality pizzas over there. And we have newer ones like Moto Pizza, stuff like that. Really, we're starting to get a pizza scene in Seattle. But for the most part, it's kind of funny. Growing up in the Seattle area, my family restaurant was one of 3 authentic Italian restaurants, because we would actually have shipped chefs out from Italy. We had, I think, 5 or 6 of them that would come to our restaurant, really do authentic food. So growing up in Seattle, in the city there, because of that, the most popular pizza that was in Seattle was actually Greek pizza. And I don't know if you guys know much about Greek pizza. It's great, but it's kind of a hybrid between New York and Chicago pizza, where the toppings are underneath. They do a lot of cheese. They do a special kind of Amish cheese, and it's almost more of a pastry kind of crust. But it isn't what we think as American pizza, New York style pizza, or any other style pizza. It's very unique. So to be able to I want to be the pizza guy in Seattle. I want to be the pizza guy in the state. And it's easy to do because no one else is really doing it. So there's a few celebrity chefs that are doing it. And it's been kind of funny ever since I won the Caputo Cup. There's actually been chefs locally that have copied what I've done also. So it's kind of interesting. Now there's a lot of sourdough pizzerias in the area. Now there's a lot of people doing Roman style in our area here. So it's interesting. It's flattering. I used to, being in the business for 39 years, you have a lot of people that take ideas, or a lot of staff that take starter and ideas. And at first it used to upset me so much, but the reality is, if we're going to all do well together, we have to raise the bar together. That's why I like the idea of starting with my high prices. It's not to overcut and be better than anyone else. It's the idea that as good as everyone else, and then also leaves the bar for that competition that I'm $2 over. They can come $2 over me, then I can go back. I'd rather fight upwards than fight downwards. So, well, I have a $10.99 pizza. Well, I have a $9.99 pizza. No, I have a $25 pizza, and that's for a cheese. I want to go up my prices, especially with the costs of everything going up. Food costs to labor costs. Things are a lot more expensive now than they were 39 years ago. Let me tell you.
Absolutely.
And to get people to buy into what you're doing is really what you're trying to do. So it's all, like you said, starting that way and moving upwards that way is always really what I'm trying to do.
Now, before we hopped on to the live part of the podcast, you and I were talking about that you're expanding your menu, you're adding some items on. How are you able to kind of add those items and keep costs in check? Like, where's your head at with that?
I'm a very non-budget person. It flips out my family about it, but I've always, growing up in the industry, I've realized that when you invest in yourself and you invest in your business, it's always a plus, right? People earn their money and they invest in the stock market, they invest in the banks, they invest in property. I invest in me and who I am. So if that's buying a new induction cooker, buying a new pasta boiler, buying a new make line, buying a new slicer, buying a tomato witch, you cut all our tomato standard, it's always worked out well for me. In the end, my job as an owner, because this is crazy for me too, I don't cook in my own restaurants. It's awkward, it's weird. I come help out, I do my classes in there. I don't really cook in there anymore. So my job as an owner is to promote my business, is to make people come and to draw people in, but it's also to make my employees' jobs as easy as possible. I want them to succeed. Everything's a test, but it's a test. I want them all to win, and I want them to win with me. So any way I can make their jobs easier through investments, through stuff like that, really is a win-win for everyone. So
you're doing something right. If you're doing something right, if you're an owner operator and you're not in there having to cook every day.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, it really held me back a lot for a long time, because I always thought, especially when I had my one little 500 square foot place, I always thought, I'm going to do everything and everyone's going to love it because they don't have to do anything. I was completely wrong. Everyone wants to be a part of what they're doing and just make decisions of where they're at. So I was alienating people by doing everything. So I started stepping back more and more, and then I got to 2 locations, and then I kind of micromanaged again, but I'm micromanaging 2 places. Well, I can't be successful at one place, alone 2 if I'm micromanaging. So that's when I really, for me, it was a big game changer when I brought on my regional manager, Tim Brown. It was having someone to have my vision. He came from a corporate background. That's the one thing I've learned from corporate is the organization. So have someone that can help me organize with cleaning, with recipes, with side work, just making sure that everything's getting done, and having that overall vision and that positivity in there. Because when you micromanage, you're not happy. When you're an owner and you go into a restaurant anxious or upset, it's amazing. It's like it's watching a snowball grow and down a mountain. One of my funniest stories about this, my father growing up in our first full restaurant, first fine dining restaurant, he would stand in the kitchen and he'd stare at everyone, watch. Thinking he was, making sure they're doing a good job, but the reality is 1 mistake turned into 2 mistakes, into 3, into 4, into 5, into 6, and it was an absolute nightmare because he was intimidating everyone. And I
Yeah.
learned that. I realized I can't go around intimidating everyone if I want a good product. I want happy people there. We went from, turnaround of every 6 months, we'd have someone new. Now I have employees that have been there. My oldest ones now has been there for 14, almost 15 years now. My other ones have been 4 to 5 years, and
Oh, nice.
a bunch of 3 and 4 and 2 and 1s as well. So really keeping them happy really makes a big difference. And then you're able to grow that way, and
Yeah.
the idea is because they see me outside of the business, they see it busy, they see what I'm doing for them, not being in the business, really motivates them. I'm working on, always making sure they have uniforms for each position. I have special weight jackets, special chef jackets. I have special shirts for the front of the house staff,
Yeah.
ways to make them feel proud about what they're doing and feel special and unique there, but also, making it look clean and making it look professional in there too. It always drives me nuts when you go into a kitchen, you see someone in a tank top, no apron, and I'm all about the uniforms in there. And it's one of the many things I've learned at these pizza expos, pizza and pasta expos over the years, is to elevate yourself through little things like that. It's definitely an investment. I go through a lot of t-shirts every year. I'm at the point where I can't even support local silk screeners because I've got to go to the next level, buying 100 to 200 of them at a time. That's just with 2 restaurants.
It gives your customers. I'm
What's
sorry.
that?
I say it gives your customers so much confidence when they walk in.
Yeah.
See everybody in a nice uniform, to see all the stuff on the walls. I would feel a whole lot better about taking your word for whatever you want to serve me if I'm seeing all that. So it's a great move.
Yeah. Well, I learned from one of my chefs early on, I apprenticed under, to be the guy, you got to be the guy. And I learned that a lot from Tony Gimignani also.
I love that.
Be who you want to be and who you're perceived at. So it's really important. Like when I go to the shows, I'm wearing the chef pants, the chef jackets.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, the neckerchiefs and stuff like that, because you are who you're perceived, and no one will take you as seriously as you take yourself. So if you don't take yourself seriously, no one else is going to take you seriously at all.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk about okay, so we go to this certain restaurant in Atlantic City every year. I won't tell anybody because then everybody will flood it and there won't be any reservations left. But we had dinner together as a group last year. And I remember you telling me how you're really elevating your leadership in the pizza community and in the pizza industry. Can you tell me a little bit, more about how you want to, or where you want to take the pizza industry?
Well, it's to me, it's a big family. It's pizza industry isn't like anything else in the world. We are the origins of fast food, but we're not fast food. But the Big Five has pushed us that way. So for me, I want to elevate everyone around us. And I think, like I said in the past, I've had a lot of managers take from me and even local chefs do what I do. And for a long time, I used to be really upset about that. I used to really, who are these people? Why are they taking my idea? And then I realized it's because they're confident. They're so confident in what I do, they want to do it. So why not take things to that next level? So that's why I wanted to become a Master Pizzaiolo. I'd seen the way that Tony not only had made himself successful, but made other people successful by teaching. For me, it was really to elevate the whole industry. To growing up, everyone thought the pizza guy and they'd look down on me because I was a pizza guy, because they have an idea of what a pizza guy is. I want to elevate that. I want the whole industry to know more about what they're doing. I want to show people how to make simple breads with the dough, how to elevate your cooking through sourdough and just through different cooking techniques. I think it's important that we're all proud of what we do. And like I said, elevating myself is elevating the industry. The more people we get out there that want to raise their prices on the menu, not lower the prices. Everyone complains to me that my pizza is too expensive. $25 for a pizza. Yeah. Well, when you go to McDonald's, you're spending $16 per person. So when you're spending $25 on a pizza that feeds 4 people, or you can go to McDonald's and for $36, you can feed 2 people. I consider it expensive pizza, but I'm still affordable. And 9/11 and stuff like that through the years, seeing really economical, just kind of halts and break checks, right, through life,
Mm-hmm.
seeing that people still want to treat themselves. They can afford what they can afford. COVID is that way also. Are you going to buy a pasta for $40 that can feed one person one time? Or are you going to spend $25 or $50 on 2 pizzas that can feed your family for a week, right?
Yeah.
So you're elevating yourself, but you're just giving value to what you do. And to me, that's what the Caputo Cup really did for me. It gave me that confidence to say, hey, I do know what I'm doing. I have spent 35 years doing this. I want to do more with it. I feel confident to do more with it. So I want to help raise the industry. Big thing about my staff and them doing well is them being inspired to do what they do. So that's why at Pizza Expo, I run the Shepherd's Brain booth, and I bring out 6. This last year I brought 7 people to work the booth, to compete, to learn there. It's always, going there for a long time. Over the years, it was different. When I first went with my parents, they would bring like 5 people, and we'd go from speaker to speaker to speaker to speaker and take notes. At the end of the night, we wouldn't go out to dinner. We'd go over each other's notes and make our own notes off that. And that's what we did. And it inspired me. So as I've grown, I really want to instill that in my staff and really give them that confidence too in competing like that. Now, Academia Ives, she just had her 3-year anniversary with me, and she's amazing. She just turned 21 years old. She got best pizza maker in the Northwest region of the United States at Pizza Expo. She's constantly been in the top 20 of all the competitions. It's just so fun especially where I'm at, so rural, and she's indigenous too, to bring her out and show her this Italian culture, to bring her to Jersey, to bring her to Vegas. Not saying she would never go there, but the idea that I get to take them there, and beyond that, I get to pay them to be there, and they get to compete, and they get to be proud about what they do. Because one thing about being in this industry as long as I have is no team member lasts forever. There's always a time. It's as good as it's going to be now, and it is what it is until it isn't, is what I say.
Yeah.
So any way I can inspire them and then try to grow with them, right? Try to make them be the best versions of themselves. By me being the best version of myself, by helping them grow, I can then, with that next level restaurants, I can help them be, elevated. And that's why I do this consulting too, to any way to make someone feel more confident in what they're doing. For me, it took 2017 when I did the school for the first time. And I at that point had been in business for 5 years, and I knew what I did and I knew why I did it for me, but I didn't know the terminology for it. But just knowing the terminology, knowing what I was doing and why I was doing it. And I done it by hand, and I'd done it all on my own and figured it out on my own. Well, there's scientific reasons to why I've done things that way. So it's neat to learn those terms and get that confidence behind me. And so any way I can give that confidence to another pizzaiolo and another person in this industry that's worked as long as I have, that's getting burnt out. I mean, what a fun way to grow as a person, to help, like you said, the whole industry grow as well.
I love that. That was awesome. So I asked this question to Melissa Rickman too, because we had her on the podcast as well. You've been going to Pizza Expo, Pizza Pasta Northeast for a long time. What was your favorite keynote, and what do you hope to take into your keynote?
There's been a lot of good ones. Nick Bogas, Mike Bausch, Tony Gemiani, the guys from Mod Pizza. There's been a lot of really good ones. For me, it's always Tony's he's really spoken to me as a pizzaiolo and as a teacher and as a mentor. So he gave out $2 bills, and every little pizza box he had there, right? He gave out all this different stuff. Nothing. I will be doing nothing like that. I'm not. That's not who I am, and stuff like that. I'll try to do as that I can. I'm not giving away thousands of dollars, but I still have that $2 bill in my wallet. He's all about luck and stuff like that. I'm not about luck as much, but I just like the idea that he wants everyone to be lucky, right? And to elevate it that way too, because once again, the Big Five had made this. We're fighting for the scraps of the American people with an amazing food and amazing product. So, I think Tony's definitely is my top one. His last one. I mean, how could you top that? It was pretty amazing. Hearing Nick Bogas's story and seeing the videography that Mike had with his. It's always neat. It's always neat to it's almost like you're meeting someone for the first time, because we all know each other for who we are, but we don't really know each other's story like that too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a neat way to really get to know someone on a personal level with another 1,000 people there in the room also. So I'm really looking forward to it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for popping onto the podcast today. And we cannot wait to hear your keynote. I'm excited for it. We'll be front row center
Awesome.
on your keynote. But take care, and we will see you in Atlantic City.
Well, see you in a month.
I appreciate it. And it's always great to see your smiling faces. And I can't wait to see your smiling faces in person.
Right
and we'll
on.
go to that restaurant that we're not telling anyone about.
Yes,
again.
exactly.
Yes.
And we'll go to that restaurant we're not telling anybody about.
Love it.
I love it.
See you,
All
Will.
right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
guys.
Will.
Thanks
Take
so much.
care. Bye-bye.